Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. I'm behind the wheel, I'm driving. It's Saturday night, and it's that funny Saturday night where we've had a bit of a COVID-19 outbreak on the northern beaches, and the Premier of New South Wales has asked people to self-isolate where they can and not to get out and about unless it's essential. So Paula and I had organised tonight to go to the Cypress Club, where the band called the Alanya, were going to have a band night, so music, song, food, and possibly a little bit of dancing there would have been as well. But with the latest outbreak, everybody's on edge, as you can understand, and given it's so close to Christmas, people don't want to ruin the Christmas season by allowing this virus to spread during this time of year and get out of control. So Paul and I made the executive decision to not go tonight. Paula stayed at home, so what I need to do is I need to go down to the Lesky, to the Cypress Club, and just pay for the tickets. But I won't be attending tonight. But at the end of the day, that's a sacrifice that we make as a family, and we're happy to do that. So before I get on the freeway, I just want to have a chat about a topic that I've got near and dear to my heart. So instead of a walk and talk, we'll be having a drive and chat, so to speak. So what I wanted to talk about today is a funny sort of topic, and it's a topic on timing, getting the right timing in life. And I remember as a kid listening and reading the nursery rhyme about the three bears, with Goldilocks and the three bears, where she'd sit on the bed and one was too hard, one was too soft, one was just right. She'd try the porridge, one was too hot, one was too cold, the other one was just right. So there's there are all these choices and things that we need to take into consideration in our lives. And the same goes with our growth and development. A lot of the leadership experts talk about the importance of just leaning just outside your comfort zone. But by the same token, there are various schools of thought. Some people talk about going hard as early as you can and growing and developing and learning along the way. Other people talk about the importance of delayed gratification. And others basically don't do anything at all. They just live in fear and procrastinate their whole lives. But I guess the thing that I've learned is it's probably a mix of all three, and you need to understand what your dreams are, what your goals are, and have a game plan, a plan of action in order to achieve those goals. And for some things we need to tread warily and push things into the future, and for other things we need to go hard as early as we can. I remember years ago at one of the seminars, I think it was Jim Rohn, or it could have been Stephen Covey, I forget who talked about it. But there's a thing called a Chinese bamboo tree, which when planted does nothing for 3 to 5 years. It shows absolutely no sign of growth or development. But what they say is that with that Chinese bamboo, what it's actually doing is it's establishing its roots below the surface. So out of sight, out of mind, the bamboo plant is busily growing, developing, extending its roots both down and across. So to the untrained eye, or to the person who doesn't really understand the way it grows and develops, you may think that the plant is not going to do anything. It's a waste of space and a waste of activity to set it up in the first place. But what they say then is, after about the third or fourth year, the Chinese bamboo then starts to show shoots above the surface. But those shoots go from 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters to 20 feet, within 6 months or a year. So it's just an example there that you can be working in parallel without showing any outcomes or results. But it all depends on what you're doing, because once you lay the right foundation, once you do the right amount of pre-work, then once you get it, you've got it. I think the point is that I'm trying to make. And once it clicks just like maths, just like science, just like socializing, just like talking with girls, all of those things. Initially it's awkward, it's hard, because you don't know what you're doing. You take advice from different people, and the advice works with some, doesn't work with others. So you learn through trial and error as well. But one thing for sure and for certain is that for all of us in our lives, when we've done the right amount of pre-work, then when the time comes to deliver the results, we're in a better position to be able to deliver massive results, and those results come very, very quickly. I remember when I was a young man doing my HSC, when I was at school. Look, I wasn't a brilliant student. I was dedicated, I was diligent, and I had to work hard. Let the truth be known, I wasn't individually brilliant, so I had to work hard. But I remember consciously back then, a lot of my mates that I went to school with, they had girlfriends, they'd go out with girls and all that sort of thing. But I remember consciously making a promise to myself that I wouldn't mess around with girls when I was at school, for example, because I knew that once I got that distraction in my life, then that would potentially steal my future away. Chances are that I wouldn't have gotten a reasonable sort of mark in the HSC, and the chances are that I wouldn't have made it to university. And had I made it to university, the chances are in those first couple of years where I was socialising, that I probably wouldn't have gotten through uni. I remember the first 2 or 3 years at uni, I spent a lot of time socialising with girls, but I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have a person who I called a girlfriend. I remember I was much more comfortable going out with all my mates, all the boys. We'd go to the Cassie Club on a Friday night, we'd go to the discos after that, to Pips and Pitt Street Gardens and Ida's and Studio. What was the studio called? I haven't forgotten what the studio was, but we'd go out, we'd have a good night, and then we'd drink, carry on, and then we'd all head home and get on with our lives. So so I pushed the relationship back a few years. But I remember people telling me, I remember an uncle of mine telling me, he says, be very careful, because if you miss out on going out with girls or having a relationship with women, you may become awkward and not ever get a chance of going out, and you may end up not finding a partner. So I had that at the back of my mind as one of the things which was eating away at me. But by the same token, I had the big dream or the big goal in mind, and I wanted to please my parents, my grandparents, uncles and aunts. I wanted to be the first in my family to have not only gone to university, to have done a tertiary study, but to have completed university, because a few people in the family have been to university, but not everybody got a chance to complete it. So I guess the lucky thing for me is that I met my girlfriend Paula, who was my first girlfriend, by the way, first and only girlfriend. I met Paula when I was in my fourth year at uni. I should have finished uni. I was doing a 3-year degree, and it took me 5 years to complete my degree. So I met Paula towards the end of that 4th year, and thank God I did, because Paula was able to teach me about girls and relationships and being in a relationship, but she was also able to focus me and get me committed to my mother and father's delight, to get me committed to studying and finishing my degree. So with that sort of focus, because as my uncle Angelo Kathraptaki, the late Angelo Kathraptaki, used to tell me as well, says once you find the love of your life, then that also relieves you of a lot of pressure and a lot of pain in your life, because you don't have to continue searching. Once you've got somebody and you can sense that there is a commitment there, and you got a future with them, then to a certain extent you're relieved of that agony, because it's something which sits at the back of your head all the time. Even having a girlfriend, even having Paula in my life, there was a sense of anxiety there to a certain extent, saying, is she going to hang around? Is it going to work? Is she not going to get sick of me? Putting hours and hours of studying in order to finish university. But it all worked out, thank God, and we got engaged, we got married, and we're still together, believe it or not, after 35 years of marriage. So we've been together since 1982. So that's almost 40 years, 38 years, which is a long time. I've been together longer with Paula than what I've been with even my parents, to a certain extent. But where am I going with this? I guess where I'm going with this is that each person, depending on what they need to achieve in their lives, needs to assess whether or not they need to go hard and fast or slow and deliberate, in order to make sure that they don't get distracted at the wrong time. Say, for example, that Chinese bamboo that I was talking to you about. You plant the Chinese bamboo, and if, for example, after 2 years, when that's busily developing its root system under the ground, you get sick of it and decide to change it and put in a Japanese bamboo, for example, then that opportunity is lost, because you'll dig it up, and as you're digging it up, you'll be saying, what are all these things, what are all these roots down here? What a waste, it's just creating roots and not creating bamboo towers. And so you might spend your life chopping and changing all the time, much to the detriment of any progress and productivity. So well, there you go. So and with young children, some children learn to crawl and walk early in life, others are later. Some talk early in life, others talk later, but you just don't know. You just don't know over their lifetimes what's going to happen. But the people who were late talkers and late walkers, end up becoming athletic champions and outstanding debaters, and vice versa. The ones who walked and talked early may not go on to bigger or better things. You just don't know. So you just got to let nature, to a certain extent, take its course. But to know what is right for you and what works for you, and not to be too eager, but also not to be too patient. It's really, really hard because there's no hard and fast rules, because everybody is different in their own way. But each person has to live their life, and by listening to your parents could work, or it may not work. To listening to your friends in some situations may work, may propel you on to bigger and better things, but it also may destroy you. Or listening to your own rationality could work, or it could destroy you. Or listening to your heart may work or may destroy you. I'm not making it easy. I know I'm not making it easy, but you'll know, and you'll see from people around you. You know, there are people who and we all start at the same point. We all start from the same place. We start with a great education system. We start with great education. We start with great people, great friends. We have the loves of our lives, great people who we fall in love with. But at some point, something happens. Something happens to either make it better or make it worse. And I don't know how to describe that. I don't know how to advise anybody on that, other than you just got to be situational in your management and your ability to work things out. And if things serve you, then continue to do them and use them and make them work. Or if they don't serve you, then you can cut the cord and move on to something else. But the word of warning is that you can't just cut the cord all the time, otherwise you'll run out of cord. So you need to give things a good run, rather than being too eager to change. But I guess that's about it from Jim's 5 a.m. club. As I say, it's not 5 a.m. in the morning, but I thought I'd pump one out, given that I was in the car by myself, and I won't be staying at the Cypress Club. I'll just be going in, paying for my tickets, and leaving, just to do the right thing and to go home and be with Paula. Paula wasn't feeling all that well today, so now we need to look after ourselves. Which brings me to another point, because whenever we get married, we always hear the for better or for worse, but of course everybody just gets married for the better. Nobody gets married for the worst. And you also hear for richer and for poorer. And once again, people get married to be richer, not poorer. So yeah, we need to understand that and work through that. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's just take a page out of this book that we're talking about, out of these lessons, and to just live a life to be humble, and to try and make the most of each and every opportunity as and when it arises. So each life is tricky. As I said before, you need to be patient, but you need to be pushy. You need to get things done, but you also need to hold back for delayed gratification. And there's no answer. Nobody can give you the answer. You need to make your own decisions and live by your own decisions. So I don't know if this 5 a.m. club has given us much tonight, other than the reality that we're all fishing. Like you go to the wharf there and there's 10 fishing lines in the water. They're all using the same bait, or some people are using different baits. They've got different rigs, they've got different setups. and one person will be catching more fish than other people, you know, and it's hard to explain. You know, there's sometimes a bit of luck, of the draw. But if you're diligent, you do the right thing, you follow a process, you have your dreams, you have your values, and you're congruent in terms of your actions, then hopefully you'll get the outcomes that you desire in life. But to also be open and humble, and to allow God to express His will and to accept that will. So let's finish off the positive affirmation again. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. Stay well, stay connected, and I look forward to coming to you again tomorrow from another location with another message of empowerment, and to help us get through the day, through the evening, and just to have a casual chat, an authentic chat, and see where it takes us, where it leads us. Take care. Merry Christmas to everybody, and let's just hope that the contact tracers sort this cluster of COVID-19 out, and that the exodus, the mass exodus from Sydney doesn't send COVID-19 into regional pockets of New South Wales and cause further problems. Anyway, we'll wait and see, but we need to be positive. Daleme, bye for now from Jim's 5am Club. Yassas, take care.